On the news tonight, House of Representatives deny receiving $30,000 bribe to reverse post reordering bill. In business, federal government to unveil transaction advisors for national career and concession of Nigeria's international airports. In all the foreign scene, police arrest dozens of Hamas supporters over attack on Palestinian Prime Minister's convoy. Hello there and a warm welcome to SuperScreen News at 8, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adenike Owoye Ajiboye. Members of the House of Representatives have denied allegation that they received a $30,000 bribe to back down from overriding President Muhammadu Buhari's veto on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2018. The members described the allegation as pure falsehood intended to intimidate lawmakers to abandon their insistence of changing the sequence of elections ahead of the 2019 polls. The Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, referred the issue to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges for investigation after a member raised it as a matter of privilege. The member, Abubakar Dambaram, said the bribery allegation dented his image as a legislator, especially when it is not true. The Senate has directed two of its committees to wade into the allegations
on judiciary.
We sincerely apologize for the mistake there. Now moving on the news. The Senate has directed two of its committees to wade into the allegations of police harassment on Senator Dino Melaye in Kogi State. The Senate confirmed this development during Wednesday's plenary session. Details in this report.
The Senate has directed two of its standing committees on judiciary, human rights, and police to investigate the alleged continued harassment of Senator Dino Melaye by Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. This directive was given on a point of order moved by Senator Issa Misau over plans by the police to arraign Senator Dino Melaye before a court in Lokoja.
Let this issue be treated in Abuja, whereby Senator Dino Melaye will report himself in Abuja, where everybody will see what is happening, so that even the international community, they are so much concerned now, they can see what is happening. Because if we decide to be taking this thing, so that, because tomorrow we don't know the next person. Today the police will just take a charge to court. I've never seen where a police will take somebody to court in the criminal matter without taking his statement.
On his part, Senator Dino Melaye told the Senate that he has not received any court summon for his arraignment. Some senators said urgent measures should be taken to protect him.
One of those declared wanted by the police in my assassination attempt is the one saying that on Airport Road in December, I gave him AK-47, 3 AK-47 and 430,000 inside my car on Airport Road. But Mr. President, as I speak to you, they fail in their myopic ignorance to state a date and time. I cannot understand how an arraignment can be done. A criminal confession, no date, no time.
We are made to understand that there is an impending arraignment of Senator Dino if he refuses to appear. And I believe the resolution of the prayer of the Senate should, some specifications should be there, that the arraignment should be stopped forthwith pending the conclusion of the investigation by the Senate.
The only reason why we are stepping into it is the fact that the truth has already been established, that yes, indeed, there was an attempted assassination. Yes, the people were arrested. Yes, the people were charged to court. Where then are we seeing this? Because we must describe it as a phantom arrangement to put away a senator in order to stop him from speaking.
What we see is a deviation from the proper process of accusation and arraignment. And I think it is time for us to tell the police that the time is right for them to now look at the processes and do the needful.
What affects anyone, any senator here, affects all and impinges on the institution generally. There is no doubt, listening to Senator Dino Milaya and following these matters, that these issues have not followed due processes. And there are many cases like this. And I think it is not something that we should take lightly at all. Today it could be Senator Dino Milaya, tomorrow it could be somebody else. In the process or speaking whatever you believe in, whether rightly or wrongly, we must have that tolerance to allow divergence of views. So this committee should look into this thing seriously and report back. And I'm sure that the entire Senate will see the cooperation to stand for what is right.
You will recall that the police spokesman, Jima Moshood, had said Senator Dino Milaya will be declared wanted if he fails to appear before the courts in Lokoja. The committees are expected to report back to the Senate in 48 hours.
In the same vein, the Senate has given the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, 48 hours ultimatum to produce the 2 suspects earlier paraded for illegal possession of firearms allegedly supplied by Senator Dino Milaya. This follows a point of order moved by Senator Dino Milaya, who cited Order 43, drawing the attention of the Senate to news regarding a jailbreak where the 2 suspects was accused of arming escaped.
This morning, Mr. President, there is a reported case in Lokoja that there was jailbreak at 5 a.m. this morning and the 2 suspects have escaped. Mr. President, we were all supposed to appear before the Lokoja High Court this morning. Lo and behold, my lawyers were in court at 9 a.m. and the case was called up, and the prosecutor, the Nigerian police, could not produce the 2 accused persons. Instead of producing the 2 accused persons, they asked the judge to issue a bench warrant for my arrest. But the judge refused to grant their prayers. And the judge said, despite the fact that I have not been served, I sent representation to the court. And the main principal accused persons are absent in court. So she cannot grant them bench warrant for my arrest. To cut a long story short, the matter has been adjourned to May the 10th. Mr. The opportunity and in the principle of justice to call on the Inspector General of Police that within 48 hours he must produce these 2 accused persons. Because despite the fact that they are accused, they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. They also have right to life. So the police must, as a matter of urgency, produce these 2 accused persons. Failure to do so, I am going to sue the IG for intimidation, for harassment, for blackmail, for mental assault.
Senator Dino Milaya there reacting on police allegation against him. And now, in view of the 6 suspects that escaped from Kogi State Police custody early this morning, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the immediate removal of the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Ali Janga. The IJ also redeployed the Commander of Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad in the state, the Divisional Police Officer, A Division, Lokoja, and the other police officers implicated in the escape for negligence, dereliction of duty, and gross misconduct. The IJ, in a statement by the police spokesman, Jima Moshood, explained that the policemen are all facing serious disciplinary action. The founder of the Oodua People's Congress, OPC, Frederick Fasung, has condemned the federal government over amnesty offer to Boko Haram insurgents. Fasung, who disclosed this in a statement, said the amnesty offer is an evidence that the federal government's claim that Boko Haram has been defeated was mere propaganda. He said offering amnesty to a world-acclaimed terrorist organization is the most unequivocal testimonial that government has been deceiving Nigerians. According to Fasung, President Muhammadu Buhari's recent offer of amnesty to Boko Haram is an insult to the dead, maimed, and internally displaced victims of the anti-Western education terrorists, as well as soldiers who lost their lives in the fight against terrorism. Still staying with security matters, in an effort to ensure peace between farmers, herdsmen, and all members of Kwara State, the government has banned night cattle grazing in the state. This was part of the resolutions adopted at the expanded State Security Committee meeting held on Tuesday in Ilorin. The state governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, who disclosed this, said the move will help minimize conflicts between farmers and herdsmen. The governor said the decision is also targeted at improving efforts to identify, apprehend, and prosecute those suspected of destroying herders' cattle for farmlands and crops in view of impending farming season. And away from this, the Federal High Court in Kaduna has struck out a suit filed by the former chairman of Pension Reform Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Maina had on November 14, 2017, sued the anti-graft agency for what he described as an ineligibility of the commission to carry out its functions on the grounds that the 2004 Act is an illegality. In the petition filed through his lawyer, Mohammed Katu, Maina urged the court to declare as null and void the EFCC Act of 2004 on the premise that the Act was modified by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo without passing the normal legislative processes as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. Maina also asked the court to restrain EFCC or any other security agency from arresting him over allegations of corruption. The Federal Road Safety Corps FRSA says it has mobilized all its field and sector commands for the nationwide 2018 Easter celebration. The Corps Public Education Officer, BC Kazim, who disclosed this, said the exercise is scheduled to run from March 28 to April 3rd with focus on 39 corridors across the country. Kazim said the special operation was aimed at reducing road traffic accidents and attendant deaths, among other objectives. He said the public holiday expected to be declared by the federal government will definitely cause an increase in vehicular movement across the nation's highways. You're still watching SuperScreen News at 8, coming up in business. Federal government unveiled transaction advisors for national career and concession of Nigeria's international airports. Join us with us of these and more after this time out. Many thanks for staying with us. Now in business world, the federal government will on Thursday unveil transaction advisors who were recently appointed for the country's 4 major international airports. Reports say the transaction advisors handling some other key projects would also be unveiled by the government. They include advisors on the establishment of maintenance, repair and overhaul centers, development of cargo and agro-allied terminals, establishment of an aviation leasing company, and development of aerotropolis or airport setters. The Deputy Director of Public Affairs at the Aviation Arm of the Ministry, James Odaudu, said the forum would enable Sirika Hardy to provide updates and developments within the sector and in particular unveil the transaction advisors recently appointed by the federal government for key projects in the aviation sector. The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, has ended in a deadlock over discrepancies observed in the revenue figures presented by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The meeting was convened to share the statutory allocations among the three tiers of government for the month of February. The committee said it could not approve the allocations to the three tiers of government, describing the revenue figures presented by the NNPC as a bad omen to workers who may have to go without salaries for the month. Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, confirmed the development to reporters shortly after the FAC meeting in Abuja, as well as the Chairman Forum of Commissioners, Mahmood Yunusa, who also spoke on the discrepancies.
You are aware that anything to do with the federation revenue is statutory and therefore constitutional, and we must always verify our figures to the last kobo, failing which we will be committing an illegality and unconstitutionality. And it is on that note we observe some issues on the figures given by one of the major revenue generating agencies, namely they're very sensitive to this issue, but again we have to follow the Constitution and the necessary laws for distribution of the revenues and then sit immediately.
So we are stepping down this meeting to further sit with NNPC and ensure that what is due to Federation account gets to Federation account. In other words, what is due to Nigerians gets to Nigerians. That is our focus for now. And that this reconciliation will take as minimal time as possible. If we look at the total collection of NNPC,